Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Jeff Bird with Jeffrey Bird Coaching, and we have a very special guest with us today. She is an author, she's a speaker and a TED Talk speaker. She started her own NGO, which, if you don't know, stands for non-governmental organization. For our US listeners, you're probably most familiar with a 501c3. It's similar to that, and it's designed to help people. So I would like you to welcome with me a very accomplished person towards helping people, and that is Sadika Kebbi. So Sadika, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
It is great to have you on board today. And, I've seen your TED Talk, and I'm going to drop a link to that in the description, and your book, and your NGO. But, I wanted to talk to you about that because in your TED Talk, you go into a little bit about your story. And that was not an easy story. You started out in Lebanon and survived a civil war there and went through some horrible atrocities. But things changed. You changed. You went from being what could have been a victim of those atrocities to somebody who's an overcomer of them and is working to help other people overcome. So could you just tell us a little bit about your story and about how you came out of that? How you so it's been said that everybody has a burden, like a boulder on their shoulder, and some people throw it down and stand on it and create a platform. And that's what you've done. Could you tell us a little bit about that journey for you?
Of course, Jeff. So as you mentioned, I went and survived the Civil War. I went through it and survived it. And that was a long period of time. And until now, I can say that my country is still suffering and is on the verge of collapsing. So during the Civil War, lots of atrocities were committed for the name of politics and power. And what was really shocking is that people kind of shed their values for their own benefit. And what happened is that at the age of 10, I witnessed a trauma when my closest friend, and I call her soulmate as well, was slaughtered. And at that time, I lost faith in the other who was sharing the country with me. And I lost faith in my country as well. But I can say that my soul was saved by the other again 2 years later. And this is what led to my transformation. And the first lesson I learned from that other, who is a priest, and he goes under the name of Uncle George when it comes to me, and he's my father's childhood friend. So the first lesson he taught me is that never ever generalize. Not all people are the same. And I'm really blessed to have met that person at a very young age, or else I would have been suffering from that trauma until now. So when we witness such huge traumatic events, I guess we need to reach out. And I advise every single person to reach out to someone who can help them, whether a mentor, whether a friend, whether a parent, whether a relative even, who can help them, or else it can swipe you and take you places you don't want to be there. Because also I can tell you that many Lebanese are still suffering from those outcomes, from post-war, post-civil war. They are still stuck there, still stuck in that past of hatred and that past of violence, and they cannot get out of it. And they are unfortunately transmitting this to the generations, to the younger generations, without taking that step where they can meet the other and talk to the other in order to understand. So war is really one of the most terrible things that can happen to a human being, especially when you lose a loved one. And you need to reach out to someone who can help in your healing. And Uncle George was my savior. He was the one who led the way, walked the way, and showed me how to serve others. And I live by his philosophy since ever I was 12 years old. And this philosophy, I'm going to say it slowly because it's really very powerful. He used to tell me, when you hold God in your heart, the human he created reveals itself by serving others. And then, and only then, even your enemy becomes human. So this was kind of, he planted that seed, and he did not only plant it, he also watered it. He took care of it for a long time until it really flourished in creating my NGO in 2016, which follows the philosophy of Uncle George in serving all the people in Lebanon. We are 18 sects, and I serve all of them to bring them on one platform.
Wow. I love, Sadika, what you say about reaching out to somebody. When you say that, immediately the image comes to my mind of an adventure race that my wife and I watched this past weekend. It was rainy here, so we just stayed in and binge watched that. But they had to cross this very swollen river with very strong currents. And if they had done it alone, they would have easily been swept away by the current. But they formed a group and they all wrapped their arms around each other and they went just one step at a time across this river and they all got safely to the other side. I think that's, yeah. So
That's
that,
exactly, yeah, that's exactly the image. This image you have just described is exactly what can happen to a person who has experienced trauma if they are left on their own.
yeah.
In
So,
really swift way.
yeah. So, hey, I want to ask just a little bit more about Uncle George. So, I mean, he came to you at a very challenging time, and after you'd been through a lot. And how did he go? Sometimes it's hard to approach somebody, even in that situation, or to know what to say. But how did he? And you knew him, thankfully, through your father. But how did he begin to approach that subject or to approach those issues with you?
Well, let me tell you something. First of all, I really believe that God works in mysterious ways. He brings the people to the people at the right time, at the right moment. And this happens to every single person, because some people say, I didn't have that privilege, or I didn't meet such a person. I am sure that they are there, but some people miss the signs. Some people don't read the signs. And I was fortunate to see that and perceive it at a very young age, but he revealed himself to me. It's Uncle George who revealed himself. And how did he approach this? Actually, the night we went to take refuge at his place, 10 armed masked men came to his doorstep and they asked him to hand us over to them because we were Muslims. And he stood his ground and he said, no, this is my brother, my immigrating brother visiting from the States. And if you would like to come and meet them, you are more than welcome. And of course, he's a credible person, he's a religious person. So they just left. And this was really kind of mind blowing for me. And most of all was the Bible he gave me. And at the moment when the door knocked, he gave me his Bible and he said, keep it close to your heart. It will keep you safe no matter what. And I believed that. I really believed it. And I had faith in that man the minute I saw how he stood his ground and he protected us. And then immediately the next day, he took it a step further. It's true, I was very young, but as I said, he showed the way and he led the way. He woke me up. He was the one who taught me my prayers. Okay, so he woke me up the next day very early in the morning for my morning prayers. And he said, Sadika, let's go. We're going to start praying. And I'm going to tell you something. We are all similar, no matter what the religious background is, or no matter where the country we come from is, or no matter those tiny differences that politicians try to highlight because the devil goes into the details. But we are all the same. We were created by the same creator. So no matter the prayer or no matter the way you approach the creator, he would be there for you. And I just want to teach you that way according to your background, to where you come from. And I don't want to change you because I don't want to break you. And he explained it in a very smooth way. And he didn't leave me to do my prayers on my own. He sat next to me in a chair and he held his Bible and he was rosary in hand. And we started praying together. We did the prayers together. And this is why until now, Jeff, I walk into any house of God to pray. I walk into churches, I walk into synagogues, I walk into mosques, I walk into any temple because I know that God is there.
Mm.
I mean, he's everywhere. He's in our hearts. He's everywhere. But the energy and I mean, the best energy to reach out to God is in his houses, in his homes, where there's this vibration of prayer all the time going on. So if anyone wants to reach to his creator or her creator very quickly and be at peace, walk into any of his homes and just do it, because he will respond to you no matter what. I mean, so he taught me all this. And then not only that, he would take me with him to serve other people. He would show me how to serve other people. And this really, I mean, transformed me as a being as a very early age. And again, I say I'm really blessed and I'm grateful to Uncle George for saving my soul.
Yeah, some people believe that sometimes we meet people and they're actually angels and we don't know it. I mean, it really sounds that way with your Uncle George. I mean, it sounds like he was specifically sent or prepared to
Yeah.
embrace you exactly where you were, to love you right where you were, and to open your eyes from the microcosm of the suffering you had been through to the eternal realities of what's really happening. That's just beyond beautiful. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, you've explained a bit, but that was, your heart's journey. It started out in one place and ended up in a very different place. And a lot of it, like you said, was through that influence of Uncle George, and through him coming alongside. And he didn't just tell you the way, he showed the way. Like you quoted the John Maxwell quote just a minute ago: leaders
Yes.
know the way, go the way, and show the way. He showed the way. He wasn't just telling you what you needed to do, he was doing it and modeling it for you. And
Yeah.
that the impact that had on your heart, it's like that sounds just like it was utterly transformative for you, for having that person to show you the way, through all the difficulties. And boy, I hope that everybody will reach out to somebody, no matter what you're going through. So what for the I know you've talked about reaching out, and but what else would you, and also finding a place to pray. And I know you talked about the religious institutions, and they are wonderful places to pray. But I know I read a book recently, and it was called Two Chairs.
Mhm.
And it said, start your day by pulling up two chairs, and you sit in one of them, and you invite God into the other, and you tell him everything that's on your heart, and then be still. It's like the Pareto principle. You talk 20% of the time, you listen 80% of the time, And he said, just pull up the chair and have that conversation and pray over what's on your heart, and whatever you start sensing, that spontaneous thought that alights on your heart, start jotting it down, and then ask him, did I hear that right? you know, and I love that. So even in my study here, I can create a sanctuary, so to speak, in the mornings or anytime I want, really, anytime I feel overwhelmed and I feel like I need that, or even when I don't. um, but what would you most want to share? I know reaching out is one of them, and being in that place of prayer, wherever that happens to be, is another. But anything else that you would share with our listeners that would help with their own heart journey? Because your heart's certainly come a long way on the journey. So what else would you share with them for their heart journey?
Yeah. I would like to invite everybody to hold God in their hearts and walk into any room or walk into any place with God in their hearts. And to accompany with God also, if I want to add a bit, it's not only God, also our values. And our values are godly as well. So if we have God in our heart, we walk into any place with our values as well, humanity will reign. And this human being that God has created will be revealed. I mean, kind of, we are the product of society. We are put into boxes since we are born. I mean, we have uh, the gender box, the religious box, the social box, the political box. All these boxes are out there, and if we stay in those boxes, we will never reach the human God created. We have to go to our inborn characteristics, to our inborn strength, to our inborn traits, to reveal that human who was created for a certain purpose, because each one of us has a certain purpose on this earth. And I will also quote John Maxwell as well, because this I learned from him. Life is not about competition, it's about completion. And everything is about completion. I mean, I might be enough as Sadika for me, but I'm not enough for the world. I'm not enough for the universe. I need Jeff on board. I need Mike on board. I need my kids on board. I need a lot of people on board so we can make a difference, so we can make a change. Because one person on their own, as we say, there's this also proverb in Arabic that one hand cannot clap on its own. We need the other hand to clap. So we were born to complete each other. And what I miss, you have it. And I need you in order to bring change, or in order to transform, or in order to blossom in that human being that God created. So I would invite everybody to hold God in their heart. And love starts in that heart. I mean, and God is love. So if you carry it, if you carry God in that, you're carrying love, you're carrying kindness, you're carrying all these traits that a human being needs to be.
And those, it occurs to me, those are all eternal traits. You can't stockpile them and stick them in a bank vault. They just are. And they are,
Exactly.
and they're bigger than all of us, and we're all in them. We're all born into that world. We just learn to see it differently and wrongly, but that's the real world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think there's no better place to close really than on what you said about the way you see other people. You see other people as the ones you need to complete you. They're not competitors. They're not so different. There's something in them. And I know you mentioned Mike, but our mutual friend, Mike Poulin, he'll say that whenever he meets a person, he'll stop and ask himself, why is this person in front of me?
Exactly.
Why are they here? What is there something I need to learn from them? Is there something I'm meant to give them? What's the purpose for this communication and interaction that we're having? So,
Exactly.
wow, I love that. Well, any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I would like to share as well about serving others. I guess this is the ultimate value a person can have. And what I discovered through the years, through serving others, which Uncle George introduced me to also, uh, I guess there's no happiness that can equate the happiness or the satisfaction a human being can have when they see just a smile on the other person's face, not more than that. I mean, this service can be a kind word. Some people, when you talk to them about community service or serving others, they immediately think about money, they think about tools, they think about equipment, and they would immediately react like, what can I offer? I don't have it. No, we have it. It is there through a kind word. It is there through a smile on the face. It is there just by listening sometimes, not even saying anything. Each and every person can serve. And as I mentioned, the best ever happy moment you can experience, or the best satisfaction moment a human being can experience, is when they see that tiny difference in a body language or a facial expression that will make not your day, it will make your life, in my opinion.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Well, I don't know if you know it or not, but I mean, that just encouraged me, and I'm sure encouraged everybody else. So thank you,
Thank
Sadika,
you.
for being here today. Thank you for the encouragement. And I just know the tip of the iceberg of all the lives that you've impacted and had a positive effect on. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for bringing the mercy, the compassion, the grace, really, to other people's lives. You kind of remind me of Princess Diana a little bit. You know, she was always going to where, like the song said, lives were torn apart, and she was the grace that came to where those lives had been torn apart. So thank you for being that, and thank you for being you and bringing a piece that we all need to help complete us, and hopefully that's vice versa in a way. So
Yes, it is. It
yeah,
is definitely. Thank you
wonderful.
so much, Jeff. I'm really humbled by your words. And I hope I can be able to serve for the rest of my life.
Oh, I have a feeling you will do that. And I hope you inspire all the rest of us to do that too. Looking at how good it is. It's not about what we're going to lose in the service, it's about what we're going to gain and what we're going to share. So
Exactly.
yes, wonderful. Well, Sadika, thank you so much. And like I said, I'll get this up and I'll put those links to your TED Talk, to your NGO, to your book on there, and
Thank
any other information you want me to share. And we'll get that out. And I hope that this has been encouraging to everybody listening, as it has been to me today. And Sadika, again, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Okay. Until next time. Thank you.